It is time. It's time to stop hiding. It's time to stand up. It's time for Christians to come together, to work together, to join each other, to come together to answer the call. Folks, it is time to wake up the lions. Thank you for joining us in the solo episode today. If you are watching this on YouTube or on Rumble, then you are seeing a little bit of an issue with our lighting. I'm trying a few new things. I tried this little lighting setup for one of my other podcasts today. Um, and while I was doing it, it gave me a couple of ideas. And I realized some things about myself that I wanted to share on this podcast in particular. Um, there's a lot of different perspectives to being in the dark. Um, I wanted to put this out here today. You folks have made Wake Up the Lions an incredible success as a podcast. It's been unbelievable what you've done to help us grow, to help the movement grow that we are building. Um, I'm grateful that you've given us your faith, that you've given us your trust, and that you've allowed me to tell your stories, to help you tell your stories. I'm grateful that you've trusted our platform to come on here and tell folks how God has influenced your life, some of the battles you've had to overcome. And it's really meant a lot to be on this side of the microphone and to be able to do that with you folks. And that's why I wanted to do this episode today like this, because I wanted to remind you, I talk to a lot of people who are worried about coming on a podcast like this. They're great people. They're wonderful folks, actually. Um, very good Christian folks who, have strong beliefs, but whether it's imposter syndrome or shyness or whatever it is that they might be attributing it to, in the end, it's because we don't believe that we have value. It's because we don't believe that our message coming from us is going to matter to somebody else. What I can tell you is that when I first started this podcast, people really didn't know what to expect. And what I told them was, come on the podcast. We'll see what we can do. I'll give you a chance to, give your testimony. It's going to be a safe place. No one's going to attack you. And the more people saw other people doing it, the more people signed up to do it. And so we've been able to encourage folks. Almost every single person I've talked to feels like I look today. At some point, we all feel like we're in the dark. We all feel like we're searching for some sort of light that's out there. We're searching for our path. Very often our darkness is so tough that we're just looking for that one single beam of light to come to our rescue. We're looking around in the dark and we're over here and we can't find our way, right? And then we open up our fists. We open up our hearts. And when we do, it's the light of Jesus that shows us the way. And that's all it takes. That's all it takes to be in the light and to be moving towards the light and to be leaving the darkness behind. Too many people think that there's so much darkness around them that they now have that darkness in them. And folks, no matter what is going on, all you have to do is open yourself up just one touch, just the smallest crack, the smallest crevice, the smallest opening allows God's light to come in. And I know it's not easy. I really know it's not easy because I was one for a very long time who thought that I deserved the darkness. I thought that, I was in the dark and I was going to have to stay in the dark because that's where I belonged. I didn't have that kind of value. I didn't think that Jesus had any use for me at all. I mean, I had children that had more faith than I did. I have a wife who's always had more faith than I've had. Until I finally opened up. And it's funny because, there were times when you would have thought that the message would have made it. Folks on this podcast don't necessarily know my story. I've told it on several other podcasts. And on the first one I've done, my biggest one, I've told the story several times. But on this one, I don't know if I ever really have. But and I'm not going to bother you with it now. But there was a moment in time when I was convinced that this world, that my wife, that my children were all better off without me. And there was so much darkness around me that I decided that I was just going to give into it. I decided I was going to pull it close and wrap it around me and lose myself in it. I truly thought there was no way to get out of it. And so when I made that decision, I went down the hall to say goodbye to my boys, and right before I did what I was going to do, I was overcome. Started shaking violently. Um, couldn't breathe. Couldn't see. My vision was kind of coming in from the outside, and I passed out on the floor in the kitchen. And short time later, I woke up and I had a whole different outlook. Um, Everything had changed for me. And I set about trying to change my life. Looking back, God literally cracked me open on the floor. He brought me to my knees because I wouldn't go to them voluntarily. I had no intention of kneeling. So he brought me to my knees to show me what was necessary. Saved my life. Set me on a new path, and still I wouldn't open up my heart. It took him cracking open my body. It took an illness that was so bad that it should have killed me. It took a surgery that I never should have survived. And it took weeks and months of recovery in the dark, long talks with my wife, connecting like we never had before, talking about our family, our future, about God, about faith. It took my wife's never ending faith in God and in me for me to finally open up my heart. And it was not a big, open, wide blossoming. It was the slightest crack. It was the smallest possible crevice because I still had so much anger and so much hurt inside of me. And folks, when I finally did that, that was when everything finally changed. So when I go out and I talk to folks, when I try to spread the word, when I talk to people about getting into discipleship and becoming disciples, when I talk to people about the spiritual warfare that's out there and what forms it takes, when I talk to people about standing up and deciding after everything that it's time to become one of God's lions, roaring loudly, standing in the front of the line, going through the wall first, protecting those who are trying to get to that point. Folks, when I look at that, when I go out and I do everything I try to do, I, it's the most fulfilling. It's it's the most incredible, the most formerly unbelievable thing that I ever could have felt. It's the most important thing that I can do with my life moving forward. I uh, I raised my children. I've done my absolute best to be a good father and a good husband. And now it's time to be a good brother in Christ, to be a good son of God. It's time to be the lion that I've always wanted to be and that I've always been called to be. And it's time to be that lion for the right purpose. This podcast was the beginning of my journey in doing that. And to all of you who have come on this show and who are going to come on the show and who have had unbelievable patience and trust in me and this platform, I am so grateful to all of you. You've enabled me with every single minute of every single interview, with every episode published. You've enabled me to get closer to my mission. You've allowed me to become more of a lion myself. I can't thank you enough for that. And the only thing that I can do to thank you all is continue the work and keep spreading the word. Keep pushing. Keep going through the wall first. Keep putting myself out there to take the hits so that other people can safely come on here and do what needs to be done. And so, two more things. I apologize for being so emotional, folks. I did not know I was going to get like this. But when it overcomes you, it overcomes you. And if you're listening to this right now, I think you get that. The first thing is uh, I'm I'm building a group on Facebook. It's going to be a free group, and I'm going to invite everyone who's ever been on the podcast that I've ever talked to about it to come into the group. It's hopefully going to be a lot of participation. It's going to be talking about these topics. It's going to be talking about our testimonies. It's going to be talking about spiritual warfare. It's going to be talking about building discipleship. It's going to be talking about outreach to help others build discipleship, to help others open themselves up to being discipled, to help others open up their minds and their hearts to consider letting God in. That's what the group's going to be about. And I hope that every one of you will join it and will contribute and will help with what we're trying to do here. I also want to send a message out to the folks who, like me right now in this picture, are surrounded by darkness. When it's all around you, it starts to sink in. Sometimes aside from your best efforts, it gets in and you start to have those thoughts. You let the devil get in there and the devil starts to tell you you're no good. You're getting what you deserve. It's too late for you. God doesn't exist. It's all a lie. Jesus doesn't want anything to do with you. And if all of this is real, what makes you think you're good enough? Folks, the stuff that gets put into your head when he gets in there is devastating. And so if you're in the dark right now and you're feeling that in any way, shape, or form, if you're feeling less than, if you're feeling like you don't have a seat at the table, if you're feeling like no matter what you say or do, God's not listening, then this message is for you. This episode is for you. I fought tooth and nail to keep God out of my life. And he had other plans for me. So he fought back. And as I look back at my life, folks, there are so many occasions where I now realize he was trying to get my attention. If someone like me can change the way I have, if someone like me can go from, you know, devoted to never letting him in to fully embracing him and spreading his word, folks, it's not too late for you. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what you've done. It is never too late to repent. It is never too late to confess. It is never too late to start over in the eyes of God. Ever. And there's no test that you have to take, and there's no membership card you have to go pick up. You simply have to decide. You have to open up your heart and say, please, Jesus, help me. And the path will become evident. The light will turn on. And it will literally show you the way. It'll show you exactly where you have to go. It's never, ever too late. And I hope that you hear me. I truly, truly do. Because, folks, it's time. It is time. It's time to wake up the lions. It's time to let God's light in. More than that, it's time for you to take your rightful place with your brothers and sisters and let them hear you roar. The world is ready. You're ready. You just have to believe it.